pointed out, was they didn't get side selection until this game. Their first 3 were all non-side selection, so that's at least a positive. They now get to pick blue side for themselves. They think maybe Champs could go better this time around. They are against an underperforming team, so both teams I think can feel like, okay, this is the one where we turn our season around. Yeah,
definitely the case. And for Golden Guardians, who really are looking to grab a win here today, because they have, I believe, TL coming up very soon. I think TSM as well. So they have some very, very tough opponents coming up in the next week or two also. It really does not get any easier for them. And 100 Thieves, while they have had really the toughest part of their schedule already is past, they lost all 3 of those games, and it's more about the way in which they lost, right? It is about the fact that neither of those games, really none of those games, looked extremely close. They were pretty handily beaten in all 3. A lot of people do have some concerns about that, because you could look at it and think, okay, well, if they were tightly contested games, if they were close games, then still this could be the 4th best team in the league. And maybe it is, but if it is the 4th best team in the league, there's a clear difference between the top 3 and the rest.
And so we'll see what comes through as this game is underway. Urgot being picked up right away by Golden Guardians. The Akali coming back around, though. And I honestly feel like that's going to be going to Ssumday, who he has not been having a very good split. He's been solo killed. He has, I believe, the worst gold difference at 10 of all mid laners in the LCS right now, so giving him a carry feels like the wrong choice.
Ssumday has not been having a good time of it either, though, to be fair. I mean, he has been playing carries. He has been getting jungle attention, and he has been, losing these games as well. It has not been Ssumday, struggling valiantly and the rest of the team kind of falling behind. Most of the map has really been collapsing. In the first 2 games, you could look at Bang and say, okay, well, he still had strong performances. The rest of the map kind of fell apart. But then yesterday against Liquid, they did get decimated in the bot lane. And, Ssumday, at least on the York, had some things happening, but that never really got going, as can be expected when the rest of the map is losing.
All right, well, and is going to have Camille here in the jungle, and he has actually been one of the brighter spots, I would say, for 100 Thieves, despite the 0-3 start. He led the league starting the week in gold difference, despite the 0-2 run. Gold difference at 10 for junglers, specifically. So Anda has still been pretty strong, and Camille, certainly a great early game fighting jungler, can take some things over. And when you've got a champion like Akali in one of those 2 solo lanes, that's certainly one you want to get ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be the 4th unique champion for Anda in as many games. Would be the same here for Ssumday if that Akali is going to the top side, so certainly some flexibility there. Lissandra can be flexed, to match wherever they do want to go. Urgot obviously can go mid or top, so can Lissandra. We are expecting it to be Aftershock Lissandra, which a lot of people are pretty comfortable in that matchup against the Akali. It can be pretty powerful if you can actually lock down that Akali, deny the ability to get into that Shroud, and have that safety there.
Yeah, could look really good. Certainly a strong, powerful champion, Lissandra. Pretty much the most picked mid laner of 9.2. Into the second round of bans, and a Zillion drop away actually potentially aimed at aphromoo a little bit there. Of course, yeah, there's still a mid laner to be picked up as well, so huhi playing a more supportive Zillion, but right now hovering on towards that Ryze, which again, we can still see Ryze play in the top lane as well, but we did see huhi play it quite recently. We are going to see Bang locking in this Braum for aphromoo, and Braum Ezreal bot lane.
Yeah, Ryze would make them quite magic damage heavy, if they are going to have Akali, Ryze, Ezreal. So we'll see if that is going to be the 5th and final pick, but they do still have the ability to flex Akali top or mid and counter pick as they so choose. Golden Guardians going to be rounding out their draft here with what we assume will be the bottom lane.
Yeah. And of course, 100 Thieves knows what the 2 solo laners are. They know from the very beginning that's Urgot, Lissandra, and they chose to say, okay, let's grab a jungler now. We'll wait for the last solo. They're like, none of the flexibility changes since pick number 5 of the draft, but they get to spend their time making sure their comp is going to line up well. Definitely going to go for some more late game insurance here on the Kai'Sa. And I do personally like Deftly most on mid to late game team fighters. I thought his Xayah, for example, was very good all throughout last year, but champions like Ezreal and this Kai'Sa here, I think, fit his best play style, and I think Golden Guardian's best use for him as a player, but they're actually adding some lane dominance on top of it, putting Soraka alongside. Olleh known to be quite good at some of these more magey supports, the Morganas and now the Soraka here as well. And they're going to have a mix of lane dominance here as well as the Ryze does get locked in.
So it is the Ryze, so quite a magic damage heavy team here, 400 Thieves. Yes, Ezreal is going to be the physical damage there. Camille is also, but more and more people are going towards these more kind of AP heavy style builds for Ezreal. So we may see people picking up some more magic resist to help deal with that. The Soraka certainly will help out quite a lot in lane. A lot of players are, at a high level, actually skipping leveling the heal until quite far into the game at some points. Sometimes going, 2 points Q, 2 points E before even picking up the W at sometimes level 5 or even later.
Yep.
So you can play this fairly aggressively. You can play a fairly lane dominant style with the Soraka with a couple points in Q and E. And we'll see if that's what they're going to look for, because Braum is certainly a support champion that you can really get a bit of aggressive on and start to really kind of bully around in this lane as Soraka.
Yeah. I'm always intrigued by micro interactions, so I'm going to ask you a quick question. You can cast Camille Ultimate while you're still dashing with Hookshot, right? You don't have to land first. You can cast it mid-travel.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, because if you couldn't, then you just put a silence on your target. I'm guessing you probably can, because either way, when Camille dives into someone and stuns them, you put the silence zone down, and now you can't do the ult follow-up unless you cast it from out of the range. So there's some nice micro interactions where you've got kind of a telegraphed ult that you can stuff early on. So I'll be watching for that with Olleh here on the silence field. And
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, another really big one is actually timing your silence field on a Rise ultimate. Things like that can be quite powerful. The Akali, if you can actually have, enough lockdown there. You have Lissandra ult, you can overlap your silence out of that, so there is certainly the ability to do that against really any champion. You can layer those CCs there, follow that up with a Fear from Nocturne, etc., etc. So there is a lot of ability to layer that crowd control from Golden Guardians, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do it.
All right, so we are on to Summoner's Rift, everybody, as the first game of the day is here. Someone must walk away with the win. Golden Guardians and 100 Thieves not having the starts they wanted, and honestly a surprise to many fans at home as well. Huhi back on the rise, hoping to show up a bit better than he has so far this year. And Golden Guardians hoping to turn things around from the previous year themselves.
Yeah, and we are going to get Aftershock Rise here. So that is something that is... They get an invade.
Oh, wow. They're going to find the stun right away. Definitely can keep walking, though. There's no other crowd control left. Even if they burn Flash, they won't get him. Definitely did not need to heal there. Yeah, that was not required.
That seemed like a bit of a panic move there, as Anda was already leaving. He was already walking away, but either way, it is the heal down, so a nice start there from Anda, and that will make Deftly have to play a little bit more safe. We do see it as heal barrier in the bottom lane, so barrier being taken here on the Soraka. That combination, especially with the setup they have here, with the AD also bringing heal, really does make the Soraka a lot tougher to target in these team fights, and that's something you're going to have to keep in mind. This is also Comet. It is not Airy, so this is even more lane focused along the style of build that I was talking about. I'm very much expecting a couple points in Q, a couple points in E here for Olleh, because if you want to go the more defensive style, Area is going to give you the shields on the healing. This is purely for the offense with the Comet. Your Q does hit confirm your Comet with the slow on it, so they really are looking to win lane, and starting down one Summoner is going to hurt that a little bit.
It's going to be scary to watch for, but we'll see. Contract's going to grab this red buff invade, and that's looking pretty okay. Of course, this is pretty obvious that Hauntzer was leashing. They know where the Urgot came from. Contractz dodged the ward on the way out, so we'll see if Anda surmises this and goes into vertical jungling.
Yeah, and Contractz is actually looking like he's heading straight to his red. So he's actually just trying to go red to red, then retreat back to the top quadrant for a scuttle and a blue. And
now they know.
And yeah, they do know now, but can they really do anything about it? That's going to be the question. They both still have their smite available, and I think, with the Rise being pushed in, this would be way too dangerous for Anda to try.
They're going to find a gank. Froggen's going to put the E down. Cast it early in case there was a flash rune prison, but they're still going to go for the play. Anda gets the early flash out of Froggen, and that is still worthwhile. I will usually take a flash for a red buff. That feels like a decent trade here. As Anda puts a ward down and Froggen takes the slow way back to lane.
Yeah, I feel like Froggen should have had an idea of where he was, though. They knew that the Camille was going to be on the bot side. Blue to scuttle is such a common path that he should have expected to be coming from that side of the map, and really Froggen should not have had to give up his flash.
Yeah, he was on that side. He just was so afraid, I guess, of massive summoners being used, but now it's a fight for this buff, and Anda getting Bell Scuttles actually is level 3 over Contractz, who tried to grab so many of these camps and keep himself from being denied that he ends up getting denied anyway, plus the gank coming through successfully. So despite the steal, it's a better jungle start for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of more travel time around the map because Contractz went from red to red, cross map, and during that time, Anda's just farming more camps, so he is going to be ahead in that regard. Got a flash down, or sorry, the heal down at level 1 as well as the flash down mid lane, so has already gotten a couple summoners for himself. Going to be taking the Gromp away here and feeling quite good about where they are sitting right now in the jungle, despite a nice start from Contractz.
So we have the early game lead for Anda in the jungle, and this has been a common trend for him so far this split. He is a player that I want to give a lot of eyeballs toward throughout this split, despite 100 Thieves not looking great. Individually, he is standing out, and we'll see if they turn the season around, how big of a part he's going to be in it. Overall, though, it's a 100 gold lead for 100 Thieves. This game is still fairly close. Ssumday doing quite well so far in the top lane against Hauntzer, who's been one of the stronger players on Golden Guardians. Ssumday, someone everyone is waiting to see him come back online, back to that almost MVP form that he was last year. And on Akali, he can certainly take over. Definitely feeling good on this Kaisa. With the Soraka support, you should be winning lane, and indeed they are. Feeling good so far against Bang and aphromoo.
Yeah, and you know, it is worth noting that Ssumday, yes, it is kind of becoming fairly common, but this is, you know, he's going Fleet Footwork, and then he's going Ravenous Hunter and Taste for Blood secondary. You start the door and shield. This does make you very, very tanky and hard to push out a lane, so despite the range disadvantage in those early levels, you have such an incredible amount of sustain that it becomes very difficult for Urgot to shove you out.
Yeah.
To follow up on Soraka, no points in heal just yet for Olleh, so level 4, 2 points Q, 2 points E as expected.
Yeah, the Emax Soraka has been getting popular since the middle of last year. One of the players I saw doing it a lot was Matt. Former Golden Guardian support, interestingly enough, and you pretty much can't dodge E, so you get a lot of damage out that way. They've already forced the TP out of Bang, but of course it was a post-tier recall, so he's actually fine doing this and just stacking up tier for now. As we're going to have Deftly coming back to base before too terribly long. Already Soraka has. And going to get more gold generation. We look around the rest of our lanes, and Froggen, of course, has to play a bit up in this matchup to do anything at all, and is still pushing in, but down slightly in CS to huhi.
Yeah, Contractz didn't actually check that side rush, or perhaps didn't feel he could go for it, but the pink ward will stay alive, and Honda still has that level lead, so it's going to be 3 straight scuttles for him. Going to be feeling very good about that, as you know, he is getting a fairly significant CS advantage and going to have the experience lead as a result. And Camille really can be a very powerful level 6 game.
And right now it's level 3 to level 5. Contractz is close, sure, but there's no camps to take right now. He's sitting there 3 point. Well, who cares what the decimal is, because there's nothing to grab unless he can get up to these Krugs. And right now he's just sitting around being at 6 minutes, level 3 Nocturne.
Yeah.
You're one of the most ult-reliant champions in League of Legends, especially from the jungle role, and he's still 3.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the confidence to go up for the Krugs because Aatrox is under his turret. You know, they saw that somebody could be TPing back, and they're actually invading on him. They don't see this coming in, but Akali is heading down this way.
Fernanda's here, and suddenly Contractz is still on the back end of all of this, and more of the camps being taken away. Anda and the rest of 100 Thieves are absolutely slaughtering this jungle matchup. Now a fight in the mid lane. Froggen withstands it pretty easily and fights for the ward, but loses a lot of health in doing so. Still gets it down, and Contractz finally will get level 4 off this camp.
Yeah, but it's another 2 camps going the way of Anda. He's going to be able to take out the Wolves and the Gromp once more, then retreat back up to his red buff as well as those Krugs. And we'll see if Contractz is going to be able to find a way in. When you're getting such a delayed level 6, it just makes your first ultimate that much more important. You have to have that impact because you really are falling incredibly far behind.
Yep. Well, this Krug camp should be 5 for Contractz. The Krugs respawn worth quite a bit, but he's still got a ways to go till that 6 comes in. And pretty much should be 6 off of this, based on how it goes. I think it's going to be an FXP, and he's going to be well ahead of the global average here by over 30 seconds. And level 6 normally 7:47, 7:15 for him.
They're just doing a really nice job, honestly, of tracking Contractz, anticipating where he's going to be. You know, aphromoo moving in for some forward wards, trying to make sure that they have eyes on Contractz, and denying as much as they possibly can from him.
Oh, well, here comes the gank towards the bottom side. The always pushing bot lane now has to worry about aphromoo, but it's a good slow to buy a bit of space. Will he go for the Q flash? Or even just like the point blank Q? Ooh, and Olleh stops to dodge it, and now Anda takes a bit of damage, and this will be a non-gank.
Yeah, look at the CS advantage down on that bot lane. They really are getting a lot out of this Soraka so far. You know, up a good 15 CS already is going to be quite nice. And at level 5, even skipping the heal still. So this is going to be at least to level 7 before we do see that coming through. So this really is, you know, fully poke-heavy Soraka. Has already earned 427 gold from the support quest. So going to be stacking that up quite quickly and really having a strong impact on the map.
Yeah, and to be clear, it's a full 100 extra earned compared to what aphromoo support item did, though he's able to pick up enough farm from other sources that individually the gold is different, but from the free gold earned, that is the difference there. And either way, it's Still a pretty nice thing. You know, there's parts that are going well for Golden Guardians, but still this jungle matchup is really, really rough. Contractz still trying to get to 6. He won't get it off Scuttle, so still waiting around. He's now more than a minute behind the average, and eventually he'll find his way into this game, but it's certainly not any early pressure for this Nocturne.
And we'll see if they are going to try to attack mid lane. That feels like the most obvious place to go. You have Lysandra there, but that is an Aftershock Rise. So, you know, that can make it a lot more difficult to actually burst this guy down if he can get the Aftershock up at an appropriate time. Pretty easy to trigger with that Rune Prison, and getting all those bonus defensives does make Rise very, very tanky, in addition to the shield that he can actually build up through the passive.
So huhi might not be the source of punishment that he has been earlier in 100 Thieves games. You've never seen him get first blooded by Niski at level 4 1v1 just a week ago, and holding up better here.
But where do you gank besides that, right? There's not. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of great options. Contractz, I don't think, is going to want to ult onto Ssumday unless he has no Shroud. Going for the bottom lane on Ezreal Braum feels like that probably won't work unless they're already poked very low. So I feel like there's limited options for where Contractz can actually look, and it makes it fairly telegraphed. Plus, probably spotted by that pink ward.
Yeah, it's going to make it tough. So Golden Guardian just playing the laning phase for now. And to be fair, I think their scaling is pretty decent. You know, I would probably take Akali over Urgot and maybe Camille over Nocturne, but Kai'Sa, I think, can still get to that 6-item mark. And sure, maybe you don't kill the Ezreal, but Kai'Sa can put out just as much damage, and certainly can be threatened, but I do think that Deftly has the ability to navigate these team fights well with the Lysandra covering somewhat. So not objectively terrible to be waiting around for late game. Now looking at a Cloud Drake, but huhi spotting Froggen, some decent damage here, and the rest of the comp is around. So here's the first ult of the game, going for the dive, trade it back and forth, and let's see what they're going to find themselves. The stopwatch immuning part of this, but still low health onto Anda. Quick heal, and first blood comes through the Contractz, but the trade kill's coming across the 1-for-1 in Contractz without flash. Where can he quite go? aphromoo gets away as well. Bang jumps in for more, and the Realm Warp maybe for another one. No, out goes huhi, doesn't want to take this fight. A 1-for-1 first blood though, going to 100 Thieves.
Yeah, nicely done there. They find their opportunity to get the ultimate in from Nocturne when they catch Anda in the river a bit, and they do cash in on that first ult. Get something from that. Very important that the first blood, I think, went on to Contractz.
Yes.
He is the one who has been quite a bit behind and going to be able to grab the call fields and feeling pretty good about it.
All right, that's going to bring 100 gold back the way of Golden Guardians for getting that first blood, as I mismentioned in the team fight, but watch that fight again.
Yeah, here it is one more time. Froggen looking to trade over onto huhi, goes straight in, right onto Anda, and did actually use his stopwatch. It looked like, I'm not sure if that straight up immune to the Lysandra ult or what happened there. It looked like he may have immuned it with his own ult and then stopwatch. There were some pretty interesting interactions going on there. I'd have to watch it back almost in slow-mo to really catch it, but either way, the first blood does go over to Contractz there. And it is just the trade, but still an important one to make work when your jungler is the one behind. As you said, the scaling's certainly not bad for Golden Guardians by any means. The Kai'Sa is going to be pretty strong and has a nice little advantage there from the bot side of the map, so they're feeling pretty good.
They are feeling pretty good. The Cloud Drake picked up there for 100 Thieves. That's going to feel good on their side. The move speed is quite nice, and a trade to the mid side, and a stopped Rift Herald attempt. Oh, wow, the rest of the team came across, though. Suddenly Lysandra's dead, so Froggen killed off camera, but 100 Thieves now have a lot of control. And look at it, push away Contractz. Does he have a way out? He can try to spell shield a bit of this. And the ulti is not yet up, gets tagged, but no one's going to follow through. 10 more seconds, he could have been put in the cage.
Yeah, that spell shield was critical, though. Actually, you know, muting the hookshot stun there with his spell shield. Really, really well done. So we'll be able to actually survive. 100 Thieves still. They get the kill on Froggen. They should be getting this Rift Herald as a result, and may just go straight for the top turret with it. Don't even know if they're going to need it to knock it down. Some of these plates are going to fall pretty fast, and at the very least, the Rift can probably finish it off.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 plates picked up. It's going to have a lot of bonus for this now. You will lose a lot of time pushing for the rest of this, but they're going to stick around for a bit. Herald finally drops, and we'll see.
At the same time, though, the bot lane turret goes down first to Deftly and Olleh, so they have already picked up that first turret gold. Going to be getting that additional farm for themselves down on the bottom side of the map, too. So it was a fairly expensive move for them to make. We'll see if 100 Thieves can cash in on this turret. Going to get it very low, at least.
The plate picked up there. The stun is going to be
stopwatch.
Zonya's, but it's still up from cooldown, so Froggen can try again with the root into whatever else he wants to do. The flea is in. They've got so much CC. Olleh finds himself the kill, but there is no way out for a flashless huhi. That turret's still very, very low. Finally drops. Not sure how many of the plates actually get awarded when no one's nearby. I don't believe Herald just gives over its credit to the summoner anymore, or maybe never even did. So those might have been useless plates. Just damage can matter, but not the gold. As top lane is being pushed into Ssumday, just kicking up some farm.
I do believe he at least got one. Wasn't sure if he was in range for the second, but they should have got something from that. And as you say, can cash in on that turret a little bit later, as it is fairly low health. It was a well-timed stopwatch from Huhi, but with no flash and no one around to assist, not going to be able to get it out of that regardless.
All right, well, 100 Thieves able to walk back into this outer turret. Still 500 gold to knock those down. That didn't change across the season, so at some point that is a bag of gold to be worth, and it's more than an assisted kill overall. But gotta say, the 18 CS lead in the bot lane, plus first turret, plus all 5 plates, definitely is rich right now. Individually, only 200 above the Ezreal, but that's fighting against Kleptomancy and the fact that Bang has an assist in the team fights. So he is still doing really, really well up there.
Yeah, Soraka has just been fantastic for the Golden Guardians so far. This pick really paying dividends, and we're going to have to see if aphromoo can kind of make up some of that ground throughout the team fighting, right? You know, he is certainly going to have potentially a higher impact in those team fights if he really can be blocking, you know, the right things with the shield, if he can catch enough people with the ultimate. Braum can be an extremely high impact support in those team fights. But likewise, if you can't get onto the Soraka, she can do a lot of work too.
Yeah, high damage source, and again, the fact that you have kind of essentially point-and-click silence can really stymie what champions want to do here. You can get rid of Ssumday's escapes, you can stop Rudy's damage wholesale. And we'll see, there's an attempt to dive to the bot lane. Connor's going in right away, but you've got Unda nearby. Teamfight comes in 2v2. There's the cage right there, and Contractz sniped by Bang from downtown. The fight will continue. No way out for Anda. He's got a flash, he's got a hook shot, making a little bit of space. He's gonna try to run towards his team. The teammates, the reinforce coming in soon, and he's gonna stay alive. The heal from Olleh, and he does walk away. The 1-4-0, it looks like.
Yeah, really nicely done there from 100 Thieves. Huhi showing how hard he is to take down with this Aftershock Rise. Gets that rune triggered, and despite the fact that Contractz and Froggen both dumped their ultimates into him, he was still sitting at like 80% health as Anda flies in and they get a kill.
Beautiful stuff right here, and the game still has 100 Thieves slightly ahead in gold, as well as that Drake pickup, as many of the lanes had done quite nicely. A quick route there. Hauntzer's going to be flashing away, does get out of this one.
He is going to be able to escape, but a couple summoners down, and he did actually use, I believe, his spellbook summoner when he first came down. So, you know, 3 summoners, it looks like, in the extended play used there by Hauntzer, and they are negative a kill. So definitely a fairly expensive fight. Both their big team fight ultimates were blown here also, as Froggen and Contractz decide to go straight in. But you can see Aftershock was triggered before the ultimate went down. That was so critical from Huhi. He lands the Root Prison on Froggen before that ultimate came through, reducing the full combo from Froggen, as well as the ultimate damage from Nocturne, and that just made him way too tanky to actually get knocked down. And then over the wall, Bang and aphromoo poking out Olleh and Deftly, denying their ability to follow up and try to finish off on it.
Of course, if you see big plays, hashtag LCS big plays. Let us know the ones you want to see featured later on in the show. It's important. Be involved. Social media. Let's go.
For some reason, that just makes me think of like Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you can tweet hashtag LCS big plays. They don't let me do it anymore. I tweet the puns.
That's true. They were all the big plays you were tweeting were just terrible.
It was like, imagine Romeo and Juliet, but on the LCS stage. It'd be an LCS big play.
Okay.
I'm
all
not
right, you're on timeout, freak. That's enough out of you.
No, I got one more game. All right, football puns are coming.
Okay.
All right, down to the end zone, looking for the kill into the river, but no, over the wall, not a problem, and it's just fine. But now Contractz, he's got to flash away. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Well, Ssumday's gonna be able to walk away pretty easily, and Froggen getting poked on a half HP. Wow, 100 Thieves really playing some good zone defense here. And they're gonna get this break, no problem.
Get no response from me.
I don't deserve a response.
Yeah. Well, the Ocean Dragon, though, pretty important for 100 Thieves. Even just a takeaway, I think, from Soraka is pretty massive.
Yeah.
Having that dragon on Soraka is so good, because you really do like the battery of both the missing health and mana. She is a champion that spends a lot of both. And you're against an Ezreal, right? So being able to have that to mitigate a lot of the poke that's going to come through from Bang would have been a very big deal here from Golden Guardians. But unfortunately for them, not able to grab it. So 100 Thieves securing yet another neutral objective. They are 3 for 3 in that regard, grabbing the Rift Herald and a couple of dragons in the fairly early stages.
And it looks like 100 Thieves will continue to look like the better team overall. They have just been doing better things, and that was the thought coming in, is how good of a team were they with the roster upgrades. And it's been a slow start, but they are at least picking up a few things along the way. Golden Guardians win would be at least something. Now Hauntzer suddenly in a bad spot, 1v2, going to be stunned, finds a bit of space, but he's still locked in all of this. And how is he going to find the way out as he keeps getting shut down? Finally, the kill comes through. Ssumday on the board.
Yeah, flashless, no way out there for Hauntzer, and it was a well-timed fight from the 100 Thieves because the Gunblade was just completed for Ssumday, so he is on a very nice power spike there. Level 2 ultimate, Gunblade done, and it's an easy kill for the duo to grab.
And it's just going to be the next play. We are 38 seconds, 35 now from Baron spawning. As we heard from High during the countdown, you want to spend about a minute resetting and getting yourself ready for this, and we'll see which recalls come through. So far, this lane's being pushed. No one's coming towards that objective, but it's going to be on the table soon, and 100 Thieves might want to play for it. Bang right now, just farming.
Yeah, definitely something they could look for. I don't think they have the best Baron killing team, especially for like a 20-minute style Baron. You really want someone who's excellent at shredding that down, and establishing the vision is going to be big for them. Either way, though, to your point, as that can be an area where they can look to get a lot of picks. I do think that Akali, when you're looking at the Camille and the Rise as well, are all champions who really do want to kind of play around that. The other team more in trying to engage into you and you being able to catch them out in the fog of war.
So we'll see what items come through, of course. You were talking about Bang maybe not wanting to go for more of a mage build because there's so much magic damage on the team with Rise and Akali being the solos. That Panther could easily be Blade of the Ruin King, and he can go for a more auto-attack focused style. That I feel like would make sense, so we'll see. And that would at least amp his Baron taking if it happens later on in the game.
And it is not Sword Boots, it is more of a defensive choice here, which obviously isn't adding physical damage, but he's not going fully towards a mage-style build either way just yet. And I think that does make a lot of sense, as you say. Blade of the Ruin King probably the correct choice here. But either way, I don't think it's a huge deal, as it's not really a pure tank on the other team, and they're not going to be stacking a tremendous amount of MR. You can actually see that Contractz is building towards armor right now. Yes, he has Merc Treads, and there's going to be a Spirit Visage on the top side, but there's not a tremendous amount of resistance in either way.
Yeah. So you don't have to optimize too badly. It's not a big deal, but things to watch out for, especially in games when you have Science and Maokai who turn invincible, and Zach and Sijuan and the rest of those giant tanks you see. Either way, we are waiting for the reset here as minute 10 is on the map. 140 to go to the Ocean Drake comes up. 100 Thieves mostly controlling this upper river. Looking at their vision, they have a crap ton of vision all around that western jungle, and it is a lot of darkness for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and this is one of the scary parts of the game when you are playing these ranged supports. The lane is kind of, oh my god.
One more Q will kill him. Got the barrier. One more Q. He's going to get the auto summoner heal. Keeps him alive, and there's no dive, but it's going to be towards Contractz. Nocturne, he's going to fall down already. They thought they had Soraka, they got someone else instead. And now Hauntzer is self-slow, taking damage, stunned up as well. Does not have a way out. A double kill in for huhi.
So nicely done there from 100 Thieves, playing around that vision. And as I'm saying, for range support, the lane phase is the fun part. Now you have to check into these dark, scary areas, and you are a Soraka. That is not a Braum who can just put up his shield and walk away. He gets shredded, and that may just straight up be the Baron 22 minutes in with multiple members down. Cooldowns down here as well. They feel like they have to try to challenge.
It's desperation. There's no smite and no tank on the roster. Froggen is the best frontliner, and they say, you know what? It's just not possible. Uncontested. 100 Thieves on a 22-minute Baron.
Very nicely done there. So Olleh getting preyed on a little bit with that squishy support. Did not have anyone with him to kind of help him check that. And the whole team kind of piled in, trying to bail him out as he's moving forward. Deftly is around, but there's no real tanky member besides the Urgot to actually face check these. And you can see Bang hitting Q after Q. Hits the ultimate, third straight Q hitting, fourth straight Q hitting. That is the barrier. Then the heal and the flash has to come out. Everyone collapsing to try to save their support. But as that happens, Contractz gets picked off on one side. Hauntzer getting jumped on the other side as he was trying to roam up to join the team. And 2 easy kills, 400 Thieves, as well as all those cooldowns, result in the Baron. And now a pretty sizable lead here.
Yeah, they are completely in control right now. Golden Guardians found a couple of small edges. They won the bottom lane by playing a lane-focused group down there, and Deftly still has the gold income. He still maybe can be the one to take over the game, but 100 Thieves winning everywhere else, especially the early jungle. That was incredibly lopsided. Anna gonna solo the Ocean Drake. Siege is gonna be easier, and we'll now see which turrets can fall. 3 outers gone so far. It's time for the tier 2s.
Yeah, the gold lead definitely has the potential to explode here with these early Barons. A lot of turrets that can be grabbed up. As you say, one already knocked down, and the gold lead already up about 5,000 gold. In addition to the extra power that they're going to have from these dragons is certainly quite significant. And for now, Golden Guardians has no one up in the top lane trying to answer Ssumday. He is going to take a bit of time to get that wave in, but they're looking for 3 waves of Baron minions across the map. They're looking to expand the gold lead. They're not trying to crack the hit.
Okay, trying to make the play, though. This time they get the burst before Aftershock. And look at the damage output towards Rise. The shutdown comes through. Extra gold toward Froggen. Maybe the piece of the comeback that's needed.
Yeah, that's a nice pick for them there. As you say, critically, the Aftershock not being able to be procced before the damage came through that time, and still getting a few rounds of spells and the Seraph's up. He was fairly tanky there, but they will lose a turret on the top side, and the Baron is still up for over a minute, so they're going to have more time to look to attack that mid and bottom turret still.
And that Baron power play, you see, is still 1,200 more gold than killing Baron itself. They are getting minion waves, they're getting turrets, and even though 1 kill came through, it's still a positive so far. 100 Thieves feeling really good about this. Still a minute left, 2 more waves to come in each of those lanes to look for maybe that 5th, maybe that 6th turret.
Yeah, and you can see the 100 Thieves are picking up a lot of kind of team fight focused items. I think at this point in the game that is very intelligent. Just minimize any risk. The only way they really lose this is some catastrophic team fight. So you see Zhonya's second onto Ssumday. You see the QSS grabbed up from Bang, not really taking any chances there. And a GA being worked towards here by Onda instead of completing the second item, Sterix. I think this does make a lot of sense given the situation that they're already in.
Especially when the way Golden Guardians wins is bursting someone down with Lissandra, Nocturne, Urgot. Well, the first one you get just comes back up, and now your cooldown list. It's a pretty good reset in that regard. 7,000 gold still the lead, fighting the top side, but Froggen knows he can't really fight Ssumday too easily. Swinging the comma around, and as Baron buff times out, 4,200 gold in the power play. They're not even done just yet, 5 seconds left. Looking for the dive with the Baron buff still on. Big burst gonna be found, but not the fear. Out goes the Camille. Nothing picked up there. Golden Guardians now will be waiting out his Baron buff, but with a 4,200 gold deficit.
And this is something that Hai was actually talking about in Countdown, if you watched his little masterclass there, about trying to sync up their Baron waves. And because they didn't have the waves necessarily all crashing at the same times, it's harder to get damage down on the turrets. So either way, they get all the outers, as you say. The gold lead certainly has expanded quite a lot. 100 Thieves going to be feeling really, really confident with their position in this game, and likely just looking again to the next Baron buff to try to close this out.
And down go the minions, and it's going to be minions pushed away. Next Cloudrick, not terribly important. The Baron at 145, though, is the thing to watch for. And yes, as the recalls come through, look at those red items in inventory. Control wards, and 4 of them. Huhi decided a broken stopwatch is more important. He has 600 gold. He can definitely afford the control wards. He chose the stopwatch, so...
Well, I mean, he's trying to go towards a zone.
I know!
So maybe you drop the Dark Seal and you can make that argument there.
Yeah.
But either way, definitely a lot of control wards picked up here for 100 Thieves, and it is the Blade of the Rune King completion for Bang, so you can see a lot of those key items are coming through. Blade of the Rune King gets bought up. The GA, as mentioned before, that was being worked towards is completed there from Onda, so... You know, a lot of big items, Knight's Vow also, and that is really where their gold lead is going to be most powerful, because if you look across the board, a lot of these guys are on, 2 in pieces, where their counterparts are on 3.
Yeah, that's rough stuff right here. The power spike's so much better. The gold difference is massive. The Drake's helping with that as well. Golden Guardians, they know they are 50 seconds away from the climactic team fight that they must win to have a chance at winning this game. Baron's coming up soon. Trading it for a Cloud is not going to do it. They've got to somehow stop that major objective from being taken, or I think they cannot possibly defend the siege. There's the reset. We know Baron's up in 30 seconds. Definitely gets away from the stun. Actually flashes early. Thought he was going to be ulted, but he wasn't. And now here comes the dive. The flash forward. They're not going to find only one. Urgot on the front line, looking for the play. Big damage coming across the heel in there as well. Not yet any kills, but they're going to find a couple of stuns. Still looking for it as Guardian Angels get popped. The Guardian forced to run away. They find a bit of damage. There's the root. They're going to find Anda. A 1 for 0 for Guardians. Look at that aphromoo. Actually, 2 kills picked up. They kited out the back line. And Huhi's going to be next to the chopping block. A 3 for 0. Are you kidding me? But now Olleh could just fall. Bang does get 1, but what a fumble for 100 Thieves. Sure, 2 kills are nice, but 4-2 is way better for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, 100 Thieves just looked like they tried to force that so heavily, knowing that they were at these really strong item breakpoints. I don't think they thought enough about the positioning, how they're actually approaching this fight, and it is 3 members now onto the Baron.
That is some red zone defense there. Golden Guardians knew they had to stop this from happening, and 100 Thieves threw it away, possibly literally. There's Ryu, he's in the Shroud. Now, can he play around Contractz? Can he play around the AoE damage? They know there's no easy way out. The Sweeper's tracking the moves. He's gonna flash over the wall. The blind ult! What a shot by Hauntzer! But Ssumday about enough time that Baron will not be taken.
Yeah, it was a nice ultimate there from Hauntzer, but still well worth the price for Ssumday to stop the Baron from going down, because yes, now, that was a big fumble there from 100 Thieves. They did give over a lot of kills, but they still have the gold lead. The Baron is still on the map, and here it is one more time. Going straight in, the Braum ultimate only connecting on 1, and you see Ssumday actually jumping out of the Shroud to attack the backline, making himself fairly vulnerable. Huhi on the side, again, only able to hit Hauntzer. The teamfight positioning was just much better from the Golden Guardians, as they were never really able to get access to anyone besides Hauntzer for a lot of this fight until later in the fight. Bang is over on the side and does pick up a couple of kills, which saves them from total disaster. This was really well done from him, and that is what prevents the Baron. That is what really keeps them still in a commanding position.
Definitely some impressive plays from 100 Thieves, Ssumday, and Bang. Bang kind of 1v2'd the entire duo lane of Golden Guardians, actually killed them both and kept them out of the fight for so much of it. And just barely no Baron picked up for Golden Guardians. Some clutch plays there, but a lot of work still to do by the blue team here. 100 Thieves in a commanding spot. At any point, they can choose to say, all right, wards go back down, play for the position. Now the play towards aphromoo. Big damage on the Braum. He will be feared. The knockup buys a couple of seconds, but it will be a trade kill for just the Guardian Angel. So far, Golden Guardians are working their way back in. Hauntzer takes up a lot of shots. He's getting low. They've got to be careful of this. As Redemption comes down, resets the fight, and they'll be able to slink through a little bit. There's the sun on the front line. They're going to get Anda as well, and Golden Guardians suddenly finding the team fight after team fight.
Nicely done from the Golden Guardians, taking down aphromoo. I actually thought that was totally fine for 100 Thieves because they committed so much to kill him, but then Anda steps up. He goes down as well. The Baron's on the table, and now your jungler's gone. 100 Thieves up against it, but they do have all of their damage dealers here.
Yeah, nice spell shield, gets rid of the ult out of Bang, but they're still gonna find some decent fighting here. The heal comes in, here comes the dive inside the Baron pit, 5v3. They gotta stop it early because Smite will go the way of Golden Guardians, waiting for it.
He missed the Smite!
He misses it, and Ssumday grabs it, plus 2 more kills. What a terrible drop here as 100 Thieves look to clean up. Olleh's low, all the kills coming across. Are you kidding me? What a fight for 100 Thieves.
It all goes wrong for Golden Guardians. They get 3v5 ace. They miss the smite. Ssumday is the hero for 100 Thieves, picking up the Baron. And that is a backbreaker if I have ever seen one for the Golden Guardians. I think that is going to pretty much do it for this game. It's
oh my gosh.
Just absolute devastation for the Golden Guardians.
2-1 team fights into the Baron push with no smite on the opposing team. You had to believe that was that fourth quarter play that would have worked for them with 2 minutes remaining, and yet it wasn't enough. 100 Thieves somehow turn it around in a 3v5. The Baron's picked up, the inhibitors, 2 of the 3 are going to fall. They'll reset one more time, but certainly this is the push after the reset that ends the game.
Yeah, and here it is one more time. Ssumday, blast cones in, getting a lot of damage down. Bang, very accurate with his poke, really adding a lot here as well. And if you look in the backline, Ssumday's so low, but he does survive, healing up a lot off of Contractz, and Contractz has to smite for a heal. That is what happened there. So Ssumday forced this. It was a forced error because Contractz would have died if he did not smite at that time because Ssumday was soloing him out. So brilliant play for Ssumday. Much more an outplay than misplay here, I think, at least in their interaction. But it can be argued that the team should have stayed in the pit and killed off Ssumday to protect their jungler. So whether or not the mistake was Contractz, it certainly was still Golden Guardians.
Well, unfortunate stuff there. We saw Deftly come out, try to zone out both the Rise and more, but here's another fight on the mid lane, looking for a big knockup for aphromoo into the back line. They've knocked down Olleh already. 1-0, 100 Thieves looking to close it out. Deftly is going to be locked in the cage. There's no way out for the Kaisa. 2-0, looking for a third, and that is going to be the kill on the Hauntzer as well. There is no defense left. Froggen can run, but he certainly is not going to survive this game. A double kill for Bang, and 5 versus 1 inside the base. This will certainly end. 100 Thieves will finally get a win in LCS 2019 Golden Guardians. Sad for them a 0-4 start. 100 Thieves, though, needed this to turn the season around. We'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, Ssumday certainly is the hero of the day here. Has not been having the season he had wanted. And a miraculous play around the Baron there from Ssumday, forcing Contractz to early smite, taking him down, and getting the last hit on the Baron there, completely swinging the game over to their favor, and that's what ended it.
Yeah, that play. Golden Guardians were making the comeback. They had the Baron and the Rise, and I think 9 times out of 10, that goes their way. They grab the buff, they grab the team fight, and suddenly they're in control. But better execution, 100 Thieves